Hi dear students, in today's class we will see Act 3 Scene 1 and this is the last act and scene that you will study in your 9th standard and the rest of the acts and the scenes that you will study in your 10th class or next academic year. And now take Act 3 Scene 1. In this scene, the plot begins to develop towards a crisis. It shows the plot or the story. The scene begins or it says about the crisis that is going to happen. And the rumors about Antonio's shipwreck and his losses become more definite, and so does Shylock's thirst for revenge. From this scene we can understand that earlier we had seen some of the rumors about the shipwreck of Antonio, but from this scene we can understand that the rumors about Antonio's shipwreck that became very clear, and the losses of Antonio that also became very clear, and something had happened to the ships of Antonio. Shipwreck means damages. And one more thing is clear from this scene, that is, so does Shylock's thirst for revenge. Now from this scene we can understand that Shylock's thirst for revenge against Antonio. And then Shylock, distracted by his daughter's betrayal and torn by Salanio, makes a powerful speech about common universal humanity. Taunt means to make fun of someone. So Shylock here, he is already distracted by the betrayal of his daughter Jessica, because she eloped with a Christian boy named Lorenzo. So Shylock, he is already distracted, and then he is taunted by Salanio. Taunt by Salanio means in a way Salanio was ridiculing or mocking at Shylock, and because of that Shylock makes a powerful speech about common universal humanity that we will see in the scene. And Shylock is simultaneously grieved and elated. Grieved because of his daughter's deceit, and elated because of Antonio's loss of ships and his being bound to pay the forfeiture. So from this scene we can understand that Shylock is simultaneously grieved and elated. He is sad and very happy. Why he is sad or grieved? Because his daughter eloped with a Christian boy, and the deceit of his daughter makes him grieved. And on the other hand, the loss of Antonio, that makes him elated. Elated means makes him very happy. The loss of Antonio makes him very happy, because Antonio, if he fails to pay the 3,000 ducats on time, then he has to do the penalty. That is why Shylock is very happy. So in this scene we can notice that Shylock is grieved and elated. He is very sad and very happy. He is sad because his daughter eloped with a Christian boy, and she deceived her father. And Shylock is very happy because Antonio lost his ships. And now we will discuss the scene in detail. The scene takes place in Venice. A street. Enter Salanio and Salarino. Salanio says to Salarino, "Now what news on the Rialto? What news from the Venetian Stock Exchange?" Rialto means Venetian Stock Exchange. Then Salarino says, "Why, yet it lies there unchecked, that Antonio hath a ship of rich landing, wrecked on the narrow seas, the good winds. I think they call the place a very dangerous flat and fatal, where the carcasses of many a tall ship lie buried, as they say, if my gossip report be an honest woman of her word." So that is the news shared by Salarino to Salanio. He says that there is an apparently confirmed report stating that one of Antonio's ship with expensive cargo is destroyed in the narrow sea channel, and the name of the place is Goodwin Sands. So some of the meanings, it is given right side, yet it lies there. It is still reported without contradiction. So it is confirmed that one of the ships of Antonio with a rich cargoes, lading means cargoes or goods, with a rich cargoes wrecked on the narrow seas, wrecked or damaged on the narrow seas, and the name of the place is Good Winds. I think they call the place. The name of the place is Good Winds. And unchecked, the meaning it is undenied. So the first line it means there is a confirmed report stating that one of Antonio's ships with the expensive cargo is destroyed in the narrow sea channel. And I think that they call the place Goodwin Sands. The description about the Goodwin it is given right side. The Goodwin Sands near the mouth of Thames, and there we can find the scene of many shipwreck or ship damages. Flat means sandbank, fatal, dangerous. Carcasses means wrecks or the damaged parts of the ship. Here Salarino says that Goodwins it is a very dangerous place or a shallow place, and it has got a sand bank, and there we can find the damaged part of many a toll. Many a toll means many good ships or many fine ships. So there we can find the damaged parts of many good ships lie buried. Then he continues, if my gossip report be an honest woman of her word. The meaning, if a talkative woman's rumor is to be believed, then whatever I heard, that is right. He heard some rumors from a talkative woman. Gossip report means a talkative woman's rumor. Salarino heard a rumor from a talkative woman, and he says to Salanius that if we can believe the words of the talkative woman, or if we can believe the rumors of the talkative woman, then it is right that one of the ships of Antonio, it is damaged there at Goodwins. So here the talkative woman, she was the reporter of Salarino, who reported to Salarino that something had happened to Antonio's ship. Then Salarino says, I would she were as lying a gossip in that as ever named Ginger, or made her neighbors believe that she wept for the death of a third husband. Here Salarino hopes that the reporter of Salarino, she is a big liar, and she is just as a gossip report who has been personified as old mother who chewed ginger and cried to make her neighbors believe that she wept for the death of a third husband. So here what we can find, I would she were as lying a gossip in that as ever named ginger. Named ginger means chewed ginger. Here the gossip report or the gossip, it is personified as an old mother. And what the old mother did, she once chewed the ginger and she cried, and she made her neighbors to believe that she wept for the death of her third husband. And named, the meaning it is given, chewed. In Elizabethan era, old people are said to eat ginger perhaps to keep their stomachs warm or to aid digestion. So in simple words, Salarino hopes or he prays that the rumor said by the talkative woman to Salarino, let it be a lie, just like a lie said by the old mother who ate ginger and cried, and then made neighbors to believe that she wept for the death of her third husband. Actually, her husband didn't die. Then also she ate the ginger and cried, and made the neighbors to believe that she lost her husband. The same way, Salarino expects or hopes that the rumors said by the talkative woman, let it be a lie, and let Antonio's ship reach here safely. But he continues that, but it is true, without any slips or prolixity, or crossing the plain highway of talk, that the good Antonio, the honest Antonio, or that I had a title good enough to keep his name company. But it is true. Here, Salarino wants to say something very genuine, and it is not a rumor, and it is a truth, and it is a fact, or it is a genuine thing, without any slips or prolixity or crossing the plain highway of words. The meaning it is given right side. Lapses into tedious speeches, using long and boring phrases, and crossing the plain highway of talk, deviating from straightforward speech. So here Salanio says that without using any kind of long phrases and boring phrases or deviating from the topic and without having any introduction, I can say that the good Antonio. And then he says about the Antonio, the honest Antonio, or that I had a title good enough to keep his name company. So here Salanio says that without any kind of introduction and without using any phrases, I want to say about Antonio, and something had happened to Antonio. But he is not saying there, but he says about Antonio, and he is a good person and he gives a good title, honest Antonio, and he says worthy of being added to his name. Oh, that I had a little good enough to keep his name company means that title, it is worthy of being added to his name because Antonio is an honest man. But here we cannot find what Salanio wanted to say. He says that let the rumor said by the talkative woman, let it be a lie. But then he says that without saying very much or using any kind of boring and tedious phrases, it is true that something had happened to Antonio, and he gives a title to Antonio, honest Antonio, and Salanio believes that title it is very suitable for Antonio. Then Salanio says to Salanio, come the full stop. Come the full stop means get to the end of your story. Come to the point. You are saying so much things and don't do that one. You come to the point and you say the exact point. Then Salanio says, ha, what sayest thou? Why the end is, he hath lost a sheep. It means, what did you say? The sum and the substance is that Antonio has lost a sheep. The end is means the sum and the substance. The sum and substance is that Antonio has lost a sheep. The conclusion is that Antonio lost his sheep. Take next page. Here Salarino says, I would it might prove the end of his losses. I hope it may be the end of his losses. When Salanio says that he lost, Antonio lost a sheep, then Salarino says that I hope it may be the end of his losses and no more losses in the life of Antonio. It should be the last loss of Antonio. Salarino says it is in a just like a prayer. Then Salanio, after hearing that, he says, let me say Amen betimes, lest the evil cross my prayer, for here he comes in the likeness of a Jew. So here comes Shylock. That is why Salanio says, let me say Amen betimes. Let me say Amen immediately. Amen, it is the ending prayer of Christians, and at the end of the prayer, Christians usually say Amen. Here, Salanio considers the words of Salarino as a prayer. So he says that, let me quickly say Amen to that prayer before the devil is able to ruin it. For here comes the devil in the form of a Jew. For here he comes in the likeness of a Jew means, for here comes the devil in the form of a Jew. And we know the person. It is Shylock. So when Salanio sees that Shylock is coming and he considers Shylock as a devil, so he says to Salarino, I should say Amen right now to your prayer because otherwise the devil will enter right now and he will ruin our prayer. And there is a note given about it. You just go through that one. According to an old superstition, a prayer would lose its effect if the devil crossed the path before the prayer was finished. So on seeing Shylock coming, Salanio pretends that Shylock is the devil and ends the prayer with a usual Amen. So that is the reason Salanio says Amen right now. There is a superstitious belief that if any devil comes before the prayer was finished, then what will happen? The prayer will lose its effect. So that is the reason Salanio says Amen when he sees Shylock is coming. Salanio considers Shylock as an evil person. Then enters Shylock and Salanio turns towards Shylock and says, how now Shylock? What news among the merchants? Hello Shylock. What news from the merchants? Hello Shylock. What is the news today among the merchants? Then Shylock says to them, "You knew none so well as you, of my daughter's flight. You know better than anyone else that my daughter has eloped." Shylock came to know about the elopement plan and who all the people there with Jessica and Lorenzo. That is why Shylock here says, "You know better than anyone else that my daughter has eloped." Flight here means elope or escape. Then Salarino says, "That is certain. I for my part knew the tailor that made the wings she flew withal." That is certain means that is correct. That is correct that we know about the elopement of your daughter. And I for my part knew the tailor. I even know the tailor who made the wings or the clothes. Wings here means clothes. And I even know the tailor who made the clothes with which she eloped. So Salarino in a way says that he knows all the details about the elopement of Shylock's daughter. And he says, "That is correct. We know about the elopement of your daughter. And I even know the tailor who made the clothes in which she eloped." Then Salanio says, "And Shylock, for his own part, knew the bird was fledged. And then it is the complexion of them all to leave the dam." It means Shylock knows for his own part. Shylock himself knows that the young bird was ready to fly. Knew the bird was fledged means the young bird was ready to fly. Fledged means ready to fly. And the young bird mentioned here, it is Jessica. So Salanio says that Shylock himself knew that the young bird or Jessica was ready to fly. And then it is the complexion, and then it is the nature of them all to leave the dam. Dam means the mother. So here Salanio says that Shylock knew that the young bird was ready to fly, and it is the very nature of the young birds to leave the mother once it gets maturity. And here it is the reference to Jessica. Here what we can find is that Salanio says that Shylock himself knew that the young bird was ready to fly, and it was the complexion of the young birds to leave the mother. And it is a reference to Jessica. And Salanio says here, Shylock knew that his daughter was ready to fly. Then it is the very nature or complexion of Jessica to leave Shylock. Then Shylock, after hearing that, he responds that she is damned for it. She will be damned for doing so. Salarino says, "That is certain, if the devil may be her judge." That means that is sure if she is judged by the devil. Salarino says that she will be damned only when devil judges her. And here also Salarino considers Shylock as a devil, and that is why he says she will be damned only if she is judged by a devil. Then Shylock says, "My own flesh and blood to rebel. Oh, my own flesh and blood has rebelled against me. My daughter has rebelled against me." My own flesh and blood means my daughter. Children are the flesh and blood of the parents. That is why Shylock says that my own flesh and blood has rebelled against me. Then Salarino says that there is a difference between you and your daughter. There is more difference between thy flesh and hers than between jet and ivory. Jet and ivory means black and white color. There is more differences between you and her than there is between two colors, black and white. We know there are many differences between black and white color. And here Salarino says that more than that difference, you and your daughter has got differences. More than the differences between black and white colors, you and your daughter has got more differences. Then more between your bloods than there is between red wine and Rhenish. Red wine, it is a cheap or common wine, and Rhenish, it is a expensive white wine. Here Salarino says that there is more differences between your blood and hers than there is between ordinary red wine and the expensive white German wine. There is a difference between ordinary red wine and the expensive white German wine. And Salarino says that more than that difference, your blood and your daughter's blood has got differences. So here Salarino in a way says that there is differences between Shylock and daughter. And the differences between your flesh and your daughter, it is more than the differences between black and white color. And the differences between the blood of your daughter and yours is more than the differences between the cheap red wine and the white expensive German wine. Then he continues, but tell us, do you hear whether Antonio have had any loss at sea or no? But now you tell us, have you heard whether Antonio has lost a ship at sea or not? Salarino wanted to confirm whether Antonio lost the ship. That is why he asked, but tell us, have you heard whether Antonio has lost a ship at sea or not? In an answer to that, Shylock says, there I have another bad match, a bankrupt, a prodigal, who dares case show his head on Rialto, a beggar that was used to come so smug upon the mart. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to call me usurer. Let him look to his bond. He was wont to lend money for Christian courtesy. Let him look to his bond. So here Shylock refers to Antonio, and Shylock came to know that Antonio lost his ship. That is why Shylock says all these things. Here he says, there I had a bad bargain or bad transaction with whom? With a bankrupt or Antonio, a spendthrift, the person who spends very much. Prodigal means the person who spends more, spendthrift or a waster, and who can hardly show his face on the exchange. Now he is not able to come to exchange or Rialto or the stock market. There I had a bad bargain with a bankrupt, a spendthrift or a waster, who can hardly show his face on the stock exchange. He is a beggar now, and he used to come smiling, so self-satisfied to the market. Here Shylock says that now Antonio became a beggar and he was a waster and he used to spend money unnecessarily, and he used to come to market. How? He used to come so mug upon the mart. So smug means so much self-satisfied. So here he says that he used to come smiling and so self-satisfied to the market, but now he became a beggar. And then he continues, let him look to his bond. Let him look to his bond means let him take care of his bond. You should remember the bond that made between Antonio and Shylock. What is the bond? If Antonio fails to repay the amount on time, then Shylock can cut 1 pound of flesh from the body of Antonio. So that is why Shylock says, let him take care of the bond. And then he continues, he was wont to call me usurer. He used to call me a money lender. Usurer means a money lender. Antonio used to call me a money lender, and now let him take care of his bond. And he was wont to lend money for a Christian courtesy. He used to lend money free of interest as an act of Christian charity. Out of Christian charity, he used to give money without interest, and now let him take care of the bond. So I hope that you understood this paragraph. Here Shylock says that there I have another bad bargain with a bankrupt, and this is the reference to Antonio, and he is a spendthrift or a waster who can hardly show his face on the exchange, and he is a beggar now, and he used to come smiling so self-satisfied to the market, but now let him take care of his bond. He used to call me, won't here means he used to call me a money lender. Now let him take care of his bond. He used to lend money free of interest as an act of Christian charity. Let him take care to redeem his bond in time. This indicates that if Antonio is not able to pay the amount, then Shylock is going to take truly revenge against Antonio, and he will cut 1 pound of flesh and he will go according to the bond. After hearing this, Saladino says to Shylock, Why? I am sure if he forfeit, thou will not take his flesh. What is that good for? Then Saladino says, Well, I am sure that if he fails to pay in time, you will not insist on taking his flesh. Of what good is that to you? Forfeit means if he fails to pay in time. So here Saladino asking Shylock that if Antonio fails to pay the amount on time, you are not going to cut the flesh of Antonio. And what is the use of the flesh of Antonio? Here Saladino hopes that Shylock is not going to cut 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. But what is the response or what is the mentality of Shylock? That we will discuss in the next class. I hope that this part is clear to you. Once again, go through the scene, and if there is any doubt, you contact me. Thank you. Have a nice day.